All right, we have some news breaking out of Washington to follow up on what Chad Pergram just reported. We just received word the Senate did approve that bill to end the government shutdown. It was unanimous, and now it heads over to the House side. As Chad talked about, it should be approved there, and then the government officially will be able to reopen, but we wanted to pass that along. Let's bring in Steve Forbes to discuss all this, the Forbes media chairman. And, boy, one of the things we've talked about, Steve, with you and with others for the last few weeks is what the impact of all this would be. It went on for 35 days, 800,000 people that missed a couple of paychecks. We know it had an impact on them. In terms of a broader macroeconomic impact, should we get most of that back now?
The answer is yes. In terms of the broad economy, very, very little impact. What I think finally broke the back and why Republicans started to retreat from the president was what was happening at airports.
Right. That looked, it was on television and it was all over the place that other people besides the 800,000, and not to minimize the impact on them, but overall, other people hadn't felt it. Now they saw it today. So the president gave in here, right? Is there any other way to characterize it?
No, sadly, and generals find out if your army's not with you, you've got a problem. And he was being deserted by his own members of his own party in the Senate and the House. They're feeling the heat on it. And so he had to make the best of a bad situation.
Yeah, there was no good choice from him, from his perspective politically. Now what does he do? I mean, he is backed into a corner here where you can't, or maybe you can, but I find it hard to envision a situation where the speaker now suddenly says, all right, here's the money for your wall, and we're not back here in 3 weeks. And then he's left to maybe declare a national emergency. What do you think?
He's going to end up, if he wants to, declare a national emergency. He's not going to shut the government down again. Nobody wants it. That would be ended up overnight. So it'll go to the courts. The Democrats know where to go to get an injuncction immediately.
The Ninth Circuit.
So it'll, or someplace like that.
Right.
And district judge, and then it'll be in the courts, and he's not going to get the money.
He's not going to get the wall then, bottom line, right? He's not going to get the money he wants to build the wall.
It depends on what he's willing to give up. And this is where I think they could have had a deal weeks ago.
DACA?
DACA, full citizenship for DACA. H-1B visa reform, that takes care of Nancy, and in the name of national security, some money for Senator Schumer's Cross-Hudson River tunnel.
So there is a grand kind of compromise or bargain here to be
Yes.
had. It'll be interesting to see whether they have it. I do want to get your thoughts on another subject. We spent so much time on this today, we almost forget about other things, but this is important for 2020. Fox News poll on the screen right now, revealing there's actually broad support for increasing taxes on the wealthiest Americans. 70% over 10 million, 65% over $1 million, 44% if you make over 250,000. And that speaks to what we've heard, Steve, in the news from not only the likes of an Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, but Elizabeth Warren, who's a serious presidential candidate, talking about this type of thing that apparently has support in the public. What do you make of that?
Well, first of all, if it looks like you're not going to be taxed, and maybe Bill Gates will be taxed,
yes.
you say no big deal.
Exactly. Not that many people make over 10 million, but once you get down to 250, you see how the numbers came back.
Yes,
yeah.
and the fact of the matter is the money's with the middle class. For Senator Warren's wealth tax is unconstitutional. James Freeman of the Wall Street Journal has a piece on it today. The 16th Amendment, which allows direct taxation, only applies to incomes, not balance sheets. So she knows it. This is as fake as her ancestry.
So that's so that's just to get it out there.
That's to show that she's far left.
Okay.
But on the income tax side, the Republicans are finally going to have to make a case they haven't really since the days of Ronald Reagan, and that is when you have these kind of taxes on supposedly people with wealth, you hurt investment. The only way you move ahead, you hurt investment. And take Medicare for all. Are you willing to pay another $10,000 or $15,000 in taxes to support that? When people find out the true cost of these things, they back off.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And
maybe
the conservatives have to make that case.
There is an intellectual argument to make there, right? That maybe also that a guy like Buffett or Gates, that we're better off with them deciding what to do with all that money than the government. Which,
well, Nancy Pelosi or Warren Buffett, who would you rather invest the money?
Well, it's almost like you've done this before. Do you ever run for president? Thank you, Steve. Good to see you.
Agitator now.